sidewalks and whatnot, and then you pay back that
I'm sorry.
No, because I used to be like very close, didn't we? We had a few crazy boys. We love them too.
Oh, really? She literally graduates every summer.
We're waiting on Bob.
Dave thinks we should live together.
Bob, you should go on your town.
We just wanted to hang out and go on the back of our house.
Oh, there's my like sister.
Cindy will be our rebound.
Listen.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. If everyone please stand for a moment of silence, we'll follow by a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank everybody for coming. Ms. Willis, roll call, please.
Mr. Eric.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Francis.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Morgan. Mrs. Scruggs Duncan. Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
And Mr. Woodson.
You guys tell everybody not to sit by me today?
Well, you know, way down here, Bob.
I'm gonna, I think.
All right, I would like to announce the following additions to tonight's agenda. Under administrative reports and recommendations, item 25-340 will be an information item now, not an action. Under personnel, item 25-362 has been updated as job description. This item has been updated since the publication of the agenda. Under 25-356, additions to the agenda, all Virginia chorus recognitions will be added. This will be added prior to 25-326. Under item 25-359, closed session 2.2-2.1-254E, compulsory attendance release, including student case 25-88. Item 25-363, distribution of student case 2588 will be added. This will be an action item. This will be after item 25-362. Item 25-364, consider approval of VSBA Excellence in Workforce Readiness Award application. This will be an action item. This will be inserted after 25-339. We'll start off with accommodations and awards. 25-356, all Virginia course recognition. This is an addition to the agenda tonight. Mr. Dobbs here. Ms. Halterman, who's?
Ms. Frost on her way.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear
Oh, you're
you.
fine.
There's a crowd. Good evening. I'm Amanda Sprouse, Choral Director at AHS, and I have the pleasure of introducing two All Virginia Chorus representatives that just happen to be sisters, Megan and Abigail Powell. At the high school level, students must be a part of the district chorus before auditioning for the All Virginia Chorus. Over 400 auditioned for this 180 seat event, and for the second year in a row, Megan was the highest scoring singer in her voice part. In February, over 150 students auditioned for only 24 seats in the All Virginia Chorus. They're not only scored by how well they perform the prepared piece, but also they are given a melodic excerpt that needs to be performed to the best of their ability, and they only get to study it for 20 seconds. So it really challenges their ability to read the music as well as perform it. 2 90-member ensembles were created, and they spent 3 days working in April with internationally renowned guest conductors performing high-level repertoire for a standing room only crowd that filled the ballroom of the Richmond Convention Center. This year, Megan had the pleasure of working with Dr. Brandon Boyd, internationally acclaimed conductor and composer from the University of Missouri. At the middle school level, the audition process is very similar. The main difference is the difficulty level of music. However, the students are still expected to sight read with only 30 seconds of preparation. Only the highest caliber of these young singers are capable of performing this level of music. Abigail worked the same weekend with Dr. Jamie Hillman, conductor, performer, and composer from the University of Toronto. Abigail's middle school honor choir performed along with the high school Virginia honor choir, the All Virginia bands, orchestras, and jazz bands, all held at the Richmond Convention Center. Please join me in congratulating Megan and Abigail Powell on their accomplishments.
Come on, madam. Amanda, come on, lady. There we go.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask a question? Amanda,
Amanda.
is there scholarships available to these guys at universities?
There's a lot of opportunities through the Virginia Music Educators Association.
Good. Is there anything we as a board could do to help them?
Possibly letters of recommendation when they apply.
I have no problem with that. Thank you.
People can get full ride scholarships for music just like they can sports. I was one of those people, so I was very fortunate.
Good. Do an excellent job.
All right, next item, 25-326, VSBA Art Contest School Finalist. Thank you, Mr. Ross. Beautiful art over here to the side.
Chairman Littleton, Superintendent Alderman, Ms. Nate Johnson, school board members. As you can see, these were our representatives for VSBA for our school division. Outstanding work. I'm gonna let the teachers talk about their students and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Do you want to take the work for the students?
Sure.
Hi, I'm Miss Clunt. I represent 2 schools. One is Callahan Elementary, and my first up is Miss Amanda. Come on up here. She is a 5th grader at Callahan Elementary. She did a color pencil work of the landscape in the fall. Oh! Did a gorgeous job in color pencil. She took a lot of time and working on shading and gradation. And I'm quite proud of Amanda's work. And my other friend is from Sharon Elementary, and that is Mr. Birdie Best. It's a big picture for a little guy. Yeah, big personality match. And he did a remembrance poppies we did during the fall. World War II. We talked about the semblance of the poppy and the flowers. And his is temple watercolor. And he's in 2nd grade.
Come on, kids, let me get your picture.
All right, over here. Brody.
Run away.
Right over here. Next to teacher.
So just open those up.
building we doing next, Mr. Cross? I'm sorry.
Davis Voss is a fifth grader at Mountain View Elementary. He's our representative over there. I was really impressed with his use of unity and variety and color that he worked on these astronaut pictures this year. That's really nice.
Sure.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Alexa Snyder. I'm the art teacher at Jeter Watson. My student wasn't able to make it today, but this was made by 5th grade student Alexa Coronado. She titled Colors of Music. 5th grade students explored mandala art, focusing on the concept of radial symmetry. Using geometric shapes and patterns, students created their own vibrant mandala, showcasing their creativity and passions. Alexa's design represents her love for music and the arts. Okay, I will. Thank you. I'm Brooke Harris. I'm here for my student Ann Corn Thomas. She wasn't able to be here tonight, and I don't think either one of our students are either. But this portrait is by Kai Toombs. She was one of the ones, or she was the one selected for the middle school division. She's new to us. She just moved here this year. Very talented. She is amazing at any assignment she turns in. I had to watch Ms. Thomas's class a couple times while she was out, and she's very detailed with her work. She spends a lot of time, as you can tell. And then my student is Chloe Walton. She is very heavy in the music and drawing and painting and everything. So this is neurographic art. This is actually one of the ones she did while we were virtual. She turned in the photo, and I had to get with her mom and be like, I need that. So very, very good. We talked about what you can do as an art counselor. So this is one of the things she came up with. So.
I'll show you the two high school entries. As y'all can see, we have very, very talented students. The Awakening is the deer picture, and it's by Amaya Riddick, and Memento Mori by Ethan Seagate.
Next on to our next item, 25-327, Instructional Spotlight, Virginia Studies Geographic Regions. Ms. Fox.
Hello, everyone. My name is Allison Fox. I teach 4th grade reading and Virginia Studies at Callahan Elementary School, and I have 2 of my brilliant students, Miss Evie Kearns and Autumn Botkins. I'm gonna make it quick because Autumn has a softball game to go to. So, one of the things we talk about in Virginia Studies is our regions, geography. Very first thing we talk about. So, we're going to talk about a multi-sensory approach to learning our 5 regions. So I'm going to show you. These 2 actually did this today. They modeled and they labeled every region and river and major city on the rivers in Virginia. Not only did they label their regions, they also told me what the geographic features were, what they looked like. So if you didn't know, the 5 regions of Virginia, the way that we remember it, we have a mnemonic device, and what is it? A very big purple car. We have the Appalachian Plateau, Valley and Ridge, Blue Ridge Mountains, Piedmont, Coastal Plain. When I was in 4th, 5th grade, I think we were calling it Tidewater. We switched a little bit, call it the Coastal Plain now. But a very big purple car. We get in that very big purple car in the Appalachian Plateau and we're driving across Virginia. So just to give you a little background on kind of how we do Virginia Studies, I try to make it fun. I try to. We do a lot of guided notes derived from the condensed study guides that I find on the VDOE. We do a lot of maps and coloring, highlighting. We do a lot of lectures and note taking, but one of the things I always try to do is I like to stop and ask, hey, what questions do you have? What connections have you made? And the kids always have something to say. Oh, I've been there. I know what you're talking about. This is cool. We do study guides, review games, hands-on activities, and my favorite, because I am a reading teacher, cross-curricular reading passages. I have reading passages all the way from American Indians, Jamestown, Civil War, 20th century. We do those in our title groups because we know if you want to read, you have to have background knowledge. They already have the background knowledge. We can then become better readers and comprehenders as well. So let me explain to you exactly what they did. I have some pictures to show you because we did this today. All of my students, they were put in groups. They were given 6 colors of Play-Doh. They sculpted each region according to their geographic features. So for example, the Appalachian Plateau, we had to make it what? High but flat. High but flat. For the Coastal Plain, we had to make it just what?
Valleys and ridges.
Wait, Coastal Plain.
Flat.
Flat. You're good. She's nervous, sorry. Then they took some blue Play-Doh and they made the rivers for me. They labeled each region with its name and characteristics, and they also labeled each river and the city that sits on it. So I will show you, I have some pictures uploaded that y'all can see now. You can kind of scroll through and I'll tell you about them. So these are all of my kids, but these are my 2 that came with me. They used a lot of collaboration and teamwork. These are their early stages. They're planning, they're figuring out exactly what to do. You can go to the next slide, if that's okay with y'all. And the group that these girls were in, they were on the left. And then my next slide, I believe, it's a really short little 2-minute video, and I hope it pulls up. I hope it plays. And it is just these girls and their other group mates, they're explaining to you exactly what it is. Oh, I'm sorry if the video didn't show up. There we go.
Oh, they're good.
And I will just let that play. It's real short. Oh. Ignore, I'm sorry, I have very awful video skill. All right, it's a little low, so I'll kind of talk for them. So what I'm doing, I'm asking them to tell me what the regions are. Their green region, that was the Appalachian Plateau. They told me that it was high but flat. They're pointing to me now exactly where their valleys and ridges are. If you notice, they actually used 2 different colors to contrast. They wanted to show exactly how high and low those valleys get. And this region is really important because this is where we live. Our next region that they're going to see is their Blue Ridge Mountain region. These are old rounded mountains. These are also the oldest mountains in all of the United States. They are old and they have a lot of history to them. This is where all of our rivers start. Then we go into our Piedmont. This is where the rolling hills start. And can you guys tell me what's the nickname of the Piedmont. What do we call it?
Foot of the mountain.
Yeah, we call it Foot of the Mountains. It's derived from French, Piedmont, and it is called Foot of the Mountains. Then our last one, if you notice, they kind of have a blue line going in between. That's our front line. That was our natural border. And then our pink one, that is our coastal plain region. This is where all of our rivers really start, and then they have their Chesapeake Bay. And then they just kind of went through and they told me exactly which city is on which river. So I'm sorry y'all couldn't hear it very well. But you can go to the next video if y'all want.
Almost all of the kids were like screaming.
But this is another video, and this is actually a different group. I did not tell this group to do this, but they actually also took different colors of Play-Doh and put where the American Indians would be on a map. That is another big thing that we talk about in Virginia Studies. And if you can hear, they have 2 blue dots on the bottom. That is for the Iroquois and Cherokee. The Iroquois language group, Cherokee tribe. The green that she's pointing to now, that is your Algonquian language and Powhatan tribe. And the pink in the middle, that is your Siouan and Monacan. And we have some funny phrases to remember this too. What do we say to remember Algonquian and Powhatan? What do we say? What are we eating by the coast? We eat apple pie by the coast. What are we eating in the capital? We're eating spaghetti and meatballs in the capital, and down south we're eating what?
Ice cream.
We're eating ice cream down south. That's just an easy way to remember, Iroquois goes with Cherokee, Siouan and Monacan go together, and Algonquian and Powhatan go together. So I was really proud of this group. That wasn't a part of my instructions. They actually just did that all on their own. So, and I'll have a few more pictures, and then I will wrap it up. So that's just a map there of Virginia, exactly where those Indian tribes are. But again, I was really impressed that they pulled that outside knowledge. And then our last couple pictures, this is my group, this is my girls that are here. This was their group that, their final picture. And then I have 2 more slides, I think, that have my other groups. So there I have my other girl group that did theirs. I have another group of my girls. I have 14 girls in my class, so we're pretty girl heavy. We let all the boys be together on this one. My other girl group, and then my last one, I have my 2 groups of boys. I have to say, it makes my heart happy to hear them. This was something we learned at the beginning of the year. And we reviewed it for the SOL, but it's still fresh in their mind. And I think my last slide, I'm just kind of, and that is a picture of all their maps up close. So if you notice, it all has the same characteristics. That purple, that's your Blue Ridge. They're pointy, they're rounded. You get all the way down to the pink, it's really, really flat. One of the things I love, they're all a little different, but they all convey the same meaning. So it really proved to me, they definitely know what they're talking about. They definitely know what they're doing. And one of the reasons that I love to do this activity is because multisensory approaches, that really helps solidify that information. I think you can go to the next slide. When we use this hands-on approach, students are able to physically create and see what these regions look like. It helps solidify how each region is different. Students have a more concrete understanding of the topic as well. Students were really able to take control of their own learning, incorporate their teamwork, collaboration, and higher order thinking. Plus, who doesn't love Play-Doh? Especially at this time of the year. Again, with Virginia Studies, learning the regions first, it really, really helps, because when we learn about Jamestown, we know it's in the coastal plain. Well, then we had to go into Williamsburg because that water got murky, there was seepage, and that helps us understand, oh yeah, because it was founded on which river? Which river was Jamestown on? It was founded on the James River. But that is all, but all I wanted these girls to tell you is, while they loved the regions, they had a few different favorite things that we learned in Virginia Studies. What was your favorite thing you learned in Virginia Studies?
The whole entire
Everything we learned.
Civil War.
We love the Civil War. We love the Civil War. And what did you like doing to prepare to learn about the Civil War? We like playing Book It. What was your favorite?
Jamestown.
She loved Jamestown too. We actually went on a field trip over to the Stonewall Jackson house, where we got to see where General Stonewall Jackson lived while he worked at VMI. And I have to say, it was wonderful to see the connections that they were making. But I'm extremely proud of these 2 girls, along with all of my kids that I've taught this year. They make my job really easy because they love what they do. So thank you much. I'm gonna take you out of school. All right, thank you, girls.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Fox.
Thank you.
All right, on to our next item. If anyone here, we're getting into the guts of the meeting, if anyone's here wants to leave, you're more than welcome to, but we always love for you to hang around. But we understand people have busy schedules, kids and all that. So we're on to the consent agenda. This is an action item 25-328. The April 14th regular meeting, review of the bills. C, consider approval of JRTC nurses aid students to Nashville, Tennessee, June 17th through the 21st. Consider approval of JRTC welding students to Atlanta, Georgia, June 23rd through 28th. Consider approval of CMS FCCLA students to Orlando, Florida, and that is July 4th through 13th. Consider approval of JRTC autonomy team to Santa Clara, California. This is July 9th through the 12th. Is there any questions from board members about any of these items? If not, this is an action item. I will be happy.
Move for approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Mr. Arrett. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Umstead. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Mr. Arrett?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Pennington?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead?
Yes.
25-329, informational items. A, cafeteria report. B, capital improvement, operational maintenance updates. The budget report. D, division operation updates on board development materials. This includes instruction, UVA teacher-child relationships in elementary classrooms, to instruction K through 2 report cards, instruction pupil-teacher ratios, instruction VT-ARC STEM next door project. We also have health and safety, transportation camera updates, and a track updates. Any questions by board members on any of these items? If not, we will move on to budget and finance. 25-330, March 31 ADM report. This is for information.
Good evening, Chairman Littleton, members of the board, superintendents. Just presenting to you our updated ADM as of March 31st, which is 2604.99. Do you have any questions?
Does
2604.99. And for comparison, September 30th, the ADM was 2613.
Thank you very much, Mr. Any questions by board members? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On to, this is also a addition to the agenda. 25-331, consider approval of instruction and support position bonuses. This is an action item.
Thank you. Chairman Littleton and members of the board, on behalf of Ms. Persinger, who does our finance projects, we're bringing this to you tonight. She's out of town for some finance related training today, but wanted to remind the board that we have proposed bonuses, a bonus stipend for all of our employees. That is $1,000 per full-time employee and $500 per part-time employee. That's flowing out of the governor's budget amendment, which did require those bonuses to be provided for what are called standards of quality positions. We've decided that we can afford to provide those for all of our positions that are in the full-time and part-time category, not the contingent category, but the full-time and part-time category. The employees that will receive those would need to have been employed on January 1st and be in good standing as of June 1st, and those will be paid out through a separate check run in June. We would obviously defer to Ms. Persinger for anything super technical about that, so be happy to take down any notes for her tonight. But would also want to remind everyone, bonuses are one-time special acts. They're not something that necessarily happen annually, but we're delighted we're able to make this happen at this time. We're grateful to the state for releasing those additional funds. And then we're grateful to the fact we're at the point in this current budget year, which of course ends June 30th, to be able to tell you that we can afford this for a good group of employees. So I'm happy to bring that to you this evening, and that is for approval.
Any questions from board members? Any questions? I'll take a motion. So moved. Motion by Mr. Franson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Eric. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Mr. Eric.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franson.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes, yes.
On to 25-332, calendar information. May 26th is a holiday, all schools and offices are closed. May 30th, high school graduation, and it's also VSBA School Law Conference. June 12th is our regular meeting. June 19th is a holiday, all offices are closed. July 3rd and 4th is a holiday, all offices are closed. And July 25th, VSBA Conference on Education. Any questions from board members on these activity events? If not, we will move on to instructional reports and recommendations. 25-333, Allegheny Highlands Public Schools VLA Division Literacy Plan 25-26 year. This is for information. Mr. Ross.
You have in your packet the Virginia Literacy Act, VLA information for our school division. It's a requirement for all divisions in the state to have one. And this is the plan that it's K-12, but mainly focused K-8, but as it's moving up, staff members are required to be trained at different levels for different things, but the goal is to make sure that all of our students can read and do what they need to do to be successful. Any questions?
I believe so, Mr. Wright. Thank you very much. Next item, 25-334, ESEA Consolidated Applications, 25-26.
Yes, and Chairman Littleton and members of the board, this is our Elementary and Secondary Education Act Consolidated Application up for information tonight, so it'll be reviewed again next month. This includes Titles 1, 2, and 4. Basically, to break that down, this supports a variety of instructional activities. Funds from these grants, these federal grants that we receive, are used to fund 11 teaching positions, 2 teacher assistants, and portions of different central office roles as well, including that of our workforce coordinator. So interesting mix of opportunities there that come from that grant. And again, this is for information tonight. Happy to try to entertain any questions, but we'll see it again next month as well.
Any questions? If not, we'll move on to 25-335, renewal of local plan for education of the gifted. This is an information item.
And Chairman Littleton, members of the board, similarly, this is up for information tonight. It is required that we have a locally developed plan for education of the gifted. This is that plan coming up for its annual review. Our local plan was given a state audit as part of routine procedures in 24-25 and found to be in very good standing. They're submitted for audit on a rotating basis. This is a routine activity we engage in, and there's a peer review component of that as well. So we've been pleased to have those results, and then we have our current plan and our future plan up for consideration so that you can potentially approve that next month.
Thank you, Superintendent Halterman. Any questions from board members on that? If not, we'll move on to 25-336, consider approval of local assessment plan renewals. This is an action item tonight.
Yes, this is an action item, and Chair Littleton and members of the board, I almost called you by the other title we have. That's pretty fun. This is our renewal of assessment and otherwise adaptive learning accounts, like our IXL program that does mathematics and does some diagnostic work with students so that they can progress at their own pace. Pieces like Mastery Connect that also support our teachers and that work with what we call our CIP benchmarks to help keep our kids on track for various tests that they need to take. This is a renewal of those licenses. This is not a new set of software package. This is software that our students and teachers are accustomed to using and appreciate. So it is for action.
Any questions for Superintendent Halterman on this? If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. Eric. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Franson. Or any further discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Mr. Eric.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Francis.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
25-337, socio-emotional learning update. This is an informational item. Mr. Ross.
Chairman Littleton, superintendents, school board members. You also have in your packet the socio-emotional activities and things that we do in our different buildings throughout the school year, trying to make sure we hit all aspects of the student and make sure they're good mentally as well as instructionally, education. So, looking at the list, I will tell you that Botkin's life skills, we need to do some upgrades with that. Reason being, as I was going through some things, I realized when we started, we had all of our counselors and PE teachers trained, and then I was wondering, it's like, well, why is it not flowing the way it used to? It's because the majority of those who were trained are no longer with the school division, so that's something we're working on. I know Ms. Garcia has been working with me to try to get that corrected.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. Any questions from board members? Thank you, Mr. Ross. On to 25-338, Title III Part A grant application. This is information. Mr. Ross again.
Annually, Title III funding, we have to apply for it. This is for our English learner students. It's a little chunk of money, but every little bit helps. And tonight is just information to let you know that next month we come into with a hopefully updated plan, because right now I don't have the actual amounts as usual. And then once I get the actual amount, I'll try to plug that in. We'll have a plan ready, hopefully be approved next month.
Any questions?
Any questions?
No, I always appreciate trying to get all the grants we can, because then we can take our allocated funding and try to use it the best we can to try to make our division the best we can. Any questions? If not, we'll move on to 25-339, math space. Math 6 through 8, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Trigonometry. Textbook adoption. This is for information. Mr. Ross is the man of the hour.
Well, like I said, in your packet is the math space information. I can tell you, after thinking about it, I kind of screwed up, because I should have made this an action item, because in the 30+ years I've been in education, this is the first time I've seen a math book and math sequence that has been completely by the state aligned. We're part of our CIP group, and they've gone through it, and that's by far their best recommendation. And since we are part of this group, they've given our entire group a discount price, which is also something we haven't seen in books that have been aligned, not just in a book that's been aligned. This is the whole from 6 through Algebra 2 that's so.
If that's the will of the board, Ms. Holton, do you have any comments you want to make on this?
I think we're excited about this curriculum package. It's taken a little bit of time to move the curriculum through the process. The state has had some things they needed to work out. Localities have had some things to work out. So I don't think we have objection to that. Is that appropriate.
Mr. Ross, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
So is this from the beginning to sequence within itself, right?
Right, from secondary, so 6th grade through algebra 2.
So there's no breakdown of any math skills, they're all right there. We need that. I'd like to make a motion, we make this an action item if possible.
We have a motion to make this an action item. Would anyone like to second it?
Second that.
Second by Mr. Arrett. Any discussion? Not roll call, please.
Mr. Aaron.
Yes.
Mr. Franklin.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Ross, for bringing that to our attention.
We still need to vote on it. So if someone would like to make a motion
Make a motion
to adopt this,
Yes. Second.
we have a
Mr. Aaron.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franklin.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
Approved.
All right,
Thank you, Mr. Ross. 25-364, consider approval of VSBA Excellent in Workforce Readiness Award application. This is an action item.
Yes, and Chairman Littleton, members of the board, we appreciate you entertaining an additional action item on your agenda tonight. Basically, what this would do, if approved, it would allow our division staff to put forward an award entry for the VSBA's Excellence in Workforce Readiness Award competition. We did well in that competition a few years back, and we want to try to enter again. At this time, we're thinking that we would probably be entering our Allegheny Highlands Advancement Program that's newer, our Law and Political Science program. It's also possible, though, we may want to consider some other options, which would certainly include building management and some other things that have been added recently. But we do need your consent for us to apply for that award. So appreciate your consideration of that.
I always support anything we can do to try to help our kids and staff. Any questions?
Yes, I do. Sorry.
Yes.
Is there a prerequisite for these programs?
You're talking about the programs themselves, like House Student Center?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, sure, absolutely. So the first one I mentioned there, the Allegheny Highlands Advancement Law and Political Science program, the only prerequisite for both of the AHA programs is that you're a student at the high school. So these are interest-based only programs. So if someone is interested in healthcare, or they're interested in any branch of healthcare, or they're interested in law, political science, leadership, public service, those kind of careers, we wanted to reach out to Jenny Phillips because students at any age level with any combination of course schedules or background factors can certainly participate in those programs. The other program I mentioned, building management, that would be a program primarily for sophomores and older, and they would apply to JRTC to be participating in that program, but that's a pretty flexible program as well, can attract a lot of students with a lot of different interests and skills. Those are just two I mentioned though. If you had a more specific question about another program, we'll try to find it for you.
I have a weird question, but I don't know how to ask it, but eventually I'll ask it. Accessibility to JRTC. They used to, this year was it as a freshman? And did we change it back to sophomores?
So there are some freshmen who are participating at this time in our drawing program. Most of the programs do require students to be a little bit older, in part due to safety standards. So that's much of the reason that you see sophomores entering at JRTC. There are CTE programs at the high school that are eligible for freshman students that are appropriate for those programs as well. I'd absolutely defer to someone like Mr. Ross for more detailed questions about a specific program, but a lot of those factors that we're having to consider are safety and course enrollment requirements. The 3-year piece at JRTC does have most of our students entering at 10th grade, although there's some options if someone decides later they want to join in.
Good answer. Thank you. Thank you.
If no other questions, take a motion.
Move for approval of the application for Workforce Readiness Award.
Motion by Mr. Aird. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Umstead. Any discussion? If not, roll call.
Mr. Aaron.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franklin.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
All right, moving on to administrative reports and recommendations. 25-340, consider approval of capital improvement plan change to information. Ms. Nee Johnson.
Chairman Littleton and board members and Superintendent Alterman. Last month, we did present a proposal to approve the capital improvement plan for this coming month. We are asking now that you consider delaying action until next month.
We're trying to find more accurate figures on what some of those capital improvement projects may cost. We're actually doing that now. I gave you a figure last month for the potential of a tennis court project. We are not sure that the figure that was given is the accurate figure, with the cost of construction rising each and every day. So next month we'll bring you a more thorough, up-to-date capital improvement plan, which has figures in it that reflect what we believe these projects will cost per school. You were given a link in your packet to that capital improvement plan. It is on our website. It's the most recent one that we have. We're very excited about the projects we have proposed in here and what we have completed over the course of the past couple of years. Still lots more work to do, but we appreciate your support as we endeavor to find more figures for you that are accurate and what we believe these projects will cost. And I'd be glad to try to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for Ms. Lee Johnson?
Is the filtration system on the capital improvement for this, is that something we've already done? For CMS?
That's already done.
Yes, we're still working on that, sir, and we're trying to get more. We have an engineer working on the projects now. We are ready to install some of the equipment that we've ordered. We also have to go to building permits and that kind of thing. So it's a work in progress, which will happen by the end of June. So thank you for that question.
You mentioned the tennis courts. Is this going to put a major kink in building the tennis courts?
What would you say?
I don't think so. I think we just want to make sure we're accurate.
Yeah, we feel like
I appreciate the accuracy.
we feel like there might be more that we need to consider for water management, for water that runs off of that mountain behind the tennis court area. That's one of the things that we're looking at. We're also trying to find all the sewer connections and all of the electrical places where we'll have to look at lighting, etc. We're also looking at ADA accessible restrooms on the top of that hill. But there's lots of pieces that we're considering to add, and we want to do it right when we do it and have the right amount of money. So.
I appreciate your last statement. Let's do it right.
Yes, sir. Thank
Let's
you.
do it right.
And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lee Johnson. No one else has anything else? Okay. All right, 25-341, first review of proposed school board meeting and events calendar. This is an information item.
Yes, Chairman Littleton and members of the board, typically speaking, we bring forward the calendar for the next year, so 25-26, about 2 months before we approve it, just so it can be fully considered by the board. Basically, this is a meeting calendar that continues to propose use of the third Monday, whenever that works for schedules around holidays and other things that are known events that are happening in the calendar. That is really helpful for our billing cycle. And speaking of accuracy, it gives you, the board, the most accurate fiscal information to look at when you're looking at your budget updates every month. So we just went with that tradition. This is the proposed calendar. And again, it won't be likely approved till the summer, but useful to see in advance.
Thank you, Superintendent. Any questions? 25-342, consider approval of authorization of signatures in the absence of the superintendent. This is for information item.
Yes, and Chairman Littleton, members of the board, you may feel like you do this a couple times during the year, and there's a reason for that. It's so we don't have any gaps in service. So basically, we always want the division to have our multiple individuals who can sign on as the superintendent level staff, if necessary, to keep something moving for a child or for some sort of process that's necessary with the Virginia Department of Education, including if someone is temporarily out of the office. So we're very lucky in our division to have a really good team of people who can do that, and we work together on those kind of items. So you obviously have myself and Ms. Sneed Johnson, but you also have Sherman Callahan, Shannon Furman, and Fred Vaughn in that group of people. And we've all served together for a couple years now, so we'd appreciate continuation of that.
Any questions? Thank you, Superintendent. The meat and potatoes, policy revisions, 25-343, School Board Policy Committee. This is for information.
Yes, and Chairman Wilson, members of the board has expressed an interest in forming a school board policy committee, which is permissible under your procedure for forming committees and your policy that governs the way the board forms committees. So there's some information here about that process. We've previously considered that as a board, and there's a desire to consider it again. Staff would suggest that such a committee be appointed for service from approximately June to June. That's kind of a nice cycle for reviewing policies when we expect updates that come forward. So that's something to consider. We don't anticipate at this time broadly controversial topics of policy in the next year. We expect more routine revisions that occur. There are often updates to certain words or updates to code sections so that individuals can find what laws the policies are referencing, those kinds of things. So we would share all that with you. We'd also remind you that you will have a budget committee and that the superintendent staff maintains multiple advisory committees. Those are all separate committees. So this will be an additional committee at the request of the board. And it is up for information this evening, anticipated action next month, I believe.
Any questions from board members?
Do you have, just from a staff standpoint, do you have any idea of the tempo of meeting or what would be necessary in that?
Yeah, some of that will depend on the membership of the board and the will of the board. About 3 to 4 times a year, we receive updates based on various changes in legislation, sometimes case law, other kinds of matters that come forward for us to look at more routine policy revisions. So I would say roughly a quarterly meeting would be necessary, potentially a monthly meeting. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, on to 25-344, review of policy, section I, instructional program. This is information. Mr. Ross, you're back.
Yes, sir. IJD is section, basically the code that Virginia changed, so the policy needs to change to match it. There's some updates in how basically dual enrollment is funded, or starting in the fall of 2025, so this coming school year, and that policy helps reflect that for CTE and or actually. And IKG is a policy that was duplicated by other things, so they've removed that policy altogether. So. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Ross. All the third school members to review that and ask questions, please. Inquire. 25-345, review of policy section G, development of GBLA-1. Mr. Vaughn.
Good evening, Chairman Littleton, school board members, superintendents. The first policy revision I have for you tonight is information only. Later in the meeting, I will present to you the entire packet of VSBA proposed policies related to section G. This year, a recommendation was for GBLA, which is our third-party complaint procedure, to actually have a regulation which would have procedures on how that process works. So you see in this information item here this evening, written out the process that we've been using for years. It works great for our division and for our staff, but it's there for you to review tonight. We'll come back next month for approval. Okay.
Mr. Vaughn, any questions? Thank you, sir. 25-346, consider approval of policy section B, school board governance and operations as an action item.
Yes, Chairman Littleton, members of the board, the next two items are going to sound very, very similar because they're basically referencing the same policy in two different sections of our policy manual. BFE would be updated for clarity. The language updates for clarity are a great example of how sometimes the language clarity updates happen. So for example, in this policy, the word cases has been changed to situations to just be a little bit more precise. So it's that kind of level of linguistic change, and this is up for action this evening, y'all having seen it last month as well. Happy to take any questions, of course.
Any questions? If not, we'll move for a motion.
Make a motion to approve section C.
B.
B.
Motion by Mr. Franson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Arrett. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Roll call?
Mr. Ayers.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franklin.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
25-347, consider approval of policy section C, general school administration. This is an action item as well.
And Chairman Littleton, members of the board, this is the same policy in a different chapter. So it is the same policy that you just approved, although it is in section C for clarity on school administration. So it's CHD, administration and policy absence. Again, they're minor.
Questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move for approval of policy section C, recommended changes.
Motion by Mr. Eric. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Franson. Any discussion? If not, roll call?
Mr. Ayers.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franklin.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
25-348, consider approval of policy section D, physical management. It's an action item.
And Chairman Littleton, members of the board, I'm going to fill in for Ms. Persinger this evening and bring you these policies for action. There are 2 policies in section D recommended for minor revisions. These are updates to the legal references primarily and a cross-reference update to make it clearer to read in the policy manual and always root our financial practices back in law, which is very important and very helpful. Want to draw to your attention that in policy DN, financial accounting and reporting, there was once a distinction between elected and appointed school boards, so we've tried to handle that deftly because we currently have both elected and appointed members as we transition to elected. So that's also taken care of for you there in that, and we're bringing that for approval. Happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions? Motion for approval.
Move for approval of recommended changes to policy section D.
Motion by Mr. Eric. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Umstead. Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Mr. Ayers.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franklin.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
25-349, consider approval of policy section E, support service update. This is an action item as well.
And Chairman Littleton, members of the board, this is 2 policies from section E, food service management policy and the food sanitation program policy. They're simply updated cross-references and legal references. So same as you saw last month.
Any questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move for approval of proposed changes to policy section E.
Motion by Mr. Eric. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Umstead. Any discussion? If not, roll call.
Mr. Ayers.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franklin.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
25-350, consider approval of policy section F, facilities development updates. This is an action item.
Chairman Littleton and members of the board, this is section F, same kind of process. We have 1 policy up for review, facilities planning. The draft's been updated for clarity with legal references and cross-references also updated. So that's a great example of how things change a little bit. It's designed to be more clear. So from the community, for example, has moved in the policy. So.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Umstead. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Eric. Any discussion? Not roll call?
Mr. Ayers.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franklin.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
25-351, consider approval of policy section G, personnel. This is an action item.
Sir, I have 5 policies for action tonight, all related to personnel. As you previously heard, these all are clarifying language, cross-references, and so forth. Included in here is GBLA, the third-party complaint, which was a regulation I referenced earlier. But this is for approval here this evening.
Any question about board members? Not all in favor?
Move for approval of recommended changes to policy section G.
Motion by Mr. Eric. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Franson. Any discussion? Not roll call?
Mr. Ayers.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franklin.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
25-352, consider approval of policy section J, students. This is an action item.
Right, 10 policies as recommended by VSBA related to our students, and you can see these are again related to legal updates, clarifications, and cross-references. I would recommend you approve these as well. I would request that.
Any questions from Mr. Vaughn? If not, we'll take a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Olmsted. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Arrett. Any discussion? If not, roll call.
Mr. Aaron?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Francis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead?
Yes.
25-353, consider approval of policy section K, school community relations. This is an action item.
Chairman Littleton, members of the board, you have a few policies in section K. Again, most of these are simple language updates, cross-references, changes in Virginia code numbers, and you can see that all in detail in the memo. I would draw one to your attention again. That's policy KD, public participation at school board meetings. The law now requires that we specify that students have an option to participate. You've never had a prohibition against students participating, and indeed we've had students speak to the board before, but this is just a clarification flowing out of some new legislation. We do request approval tonight.
Any questions?
And what does the law say?
The law says that you have to have a policy that indicates students can participate in school board meetings. Locally, we've always had students participating. If they were to sign up for public comment, they're eligible to make it. That's always been the case here. But now the law says that that needs to be in a policy.
Is there an age requirement for that?
I do not believe so. Happy to double check real quick. Students enrolled in a public elementary or secondary school are allowed to address the school board during public comment or any citizen participation portion. And you've never had a prohibition against it, right? And we've consistently allowed it. We've had some students want to speak before. We very recently actually had some younger students speak this fall, but this is just a clarification.
We've never encouraged it. This directly encourages it to me. It's good.
You could see it as that way. It does also just keep you in compliance, so it's a compliance policy.
Any other questions? Take a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Francie.
Second.
Second by Mr. Olmsted. Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Mr. Aaron?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Francis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead?
Yes.
25-354, consider approval of policy section L, education agency relations. This is an action item.
And Chairman Littleton, members of the board, very similar here. Again, some updates just flowing out of legislation. One of these policies is LEB, Advanced and Alternative Courses for Credit, and would want to point out to the board that the language now includes direct references to industry-recognized credentials as substitutes for certain credits required for high school graduation. That's consistent with some Board of Education actions and some Department of Education actions.
Any questions for Superintendent? No, I'll take a motion.
Move for approval of recommended changes to policy section L.
Motion by Mr. Arrett. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Umstead. Any discussion? If not, roll call.
Mr. Aaron?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Francis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead?
Yes.
Last policy revisions, 25-355. Consider approval of policies GCBD, GCG-R, and GDD-R. These are all action. Mr. Vaughn.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
miss a tongue twister there.
These are local regulations, different from VSBA that brought last month, and I'm seeking your approval tonight. The sick leave extends from 3 to 5 days, the number of days an employee can take for illness or death in an immediate family member, of an immediate family member. The paraprofessional employment qualifications, this is a new regulation, but aligns us with meeting highly qualified. That's required by Title I. And the final is teaching experience allowable credit. This is just putting into regulation what the Virginia Code already says, which defines how we can calculate teaching credit for any teacher that comes to our division. So asking for your your approval tonight.
Any questions for Mr. Vaughn? No, I'll take a motion.
Move for approval of GCBD, GCGR, and GDDR as presented.
Motion by Mr. Eric, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Franson seconded. Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Mr. Aaron.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franzen.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Littleton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Umstead.
Yes.
All right, on to other business, 25-356, additions to the agenda, which they've been spread out. I don't think we have any more. Is that correct, Superintendent?
Not right here.
That's what I didn't think so. 25-357, this is, public comment and board superintendent public comments. 25-357, public comment. Mrs. Wills, who do we have?
We have Alex Brigham.
Mr. Brigham. It's always a pleasure to have you back, sir.
Glad to be back. Good evening. I'd like to just share some thoughts that I've had kind of reflecting back as we close out the school year. We've certainly had highlights. I don't know if you share this sentiment, but the word that I would describe this school year is challenging for a number of reasons. You know, I know we know the national, state, public education and the challenges we face as a nation, but, to list some specifics, with this school year in this county, we've had closings for various reasons, ranging from flushed mop heads and vapes to what's going on at the middle school. We've had unfortunate losses and hospitalizations of both staff members and students alike. And when you couple that with what I would say just an increasing or an increase in apathy, a decrease in work ethic and respect, really in our school systems as a teacher across the board, challenging feels like a right word to me. And the thought that's occurred to me and I'd like to present tonight is in all of this. I know we work as board members, as administrators, as teachers hard to come up with solutions to these problems, but I would implore you that the solutions to these problems that we're facing and trying to solve are not going to come from anything other than a dependence on a creator that created all of us, and that is Jesus Christ and his word. I present to you just a parable this evening of one Jesus Christ, and he says this: anyone who listens to my teaching and follows it is wise, like a person who builds a house on a solid rock. Though the rain comes in torrents and the floodwaters rise and the winds beat against that house, it will not collapse because it's built on its bedrock. But anyone who hears my teaching and does not obey is foolish, like a person who builds a house on a sand. When the rains and the floods come, the winds beat against that house, it will collapse with a mighty crash. So there's two things presented here. The challenges we face are certainly like these storms, but the difference in result was what the house was built on. And if the things are built on Jesus Christ and his word, they'll last. If not, they come tumbling down. Broadly speaking, I realize there's two groups that I'm talking to this evening, those that have confessed Jesus Christ in some way and those who have not. Those who haven't, I would say one word: repent. It is not too late to turn to follow his ways, because if your life is anything like mine, before I made that confession, empty and inadequate are two words that summarize that. And there are those of us that maybe have made that confession at some point in our lives. And I would also say to this group, there's a need to repent, because I firmly believe that if the body of Christ, if the church had been and will be who we're called to be, a lot of these problems that we're facing today as a nation and otherwise would be resolved. So I guess in your guys' fashion, there is one action item I'd like you to consider this evening. I know I don't have that kind of poll, but it's been brought to my attention this school year that there's a school board in Tennessee, in Rutherford County. They voted recently 5-2 to take a small step in the right direction. They are now opening their school board meetings with, instead of a moment of silence, a moment of prayer. That's what I would present to you guys as a consideration for us to get this thing back in the right direction, because I really do believe that if we don't, as this parable guarantees to us, things will come crumbling down. Thank you for your time this evening. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Berry.
Yes. Katie Cottrell.
Good evening, members of the board, Ms. Halterman, Ms. Snee Johnson. I'm pretty sure quite a few of y'all know me. If you don't, I am a bus driver for this great school system. I'm also one of your bus driver trainers. The reason I wanted to come and speak with y'all tonight, 99 chances out of 100 you're gonna tell me doesn't have a place here. But I believe that our parents and other staff have a right to know this as well. Step raises were put into place in upcoming contracts for certain individuals, the people that are on the STEP program. The transportation department does not fall in this program. I've sat back and I've listened to everything that y'all have been saying over the past few months with everything that we've had to deal with calling us in to get kids out of the middle school, calling us because of septic flooding, calling us in and us dealing with actual flooding on the roads within the past couple of weeks, and our drivers having to figure out how to get our kids home safely. Your bus drivers weren't included in a possible raise. I stood this morning and listened to quite a few that have said that they were not going to sign this contract because it feels like a slap in the face to your bus drivers. Y'all have all said that you appreciate everything we do, but sometimes it just does not feel like it. And I hate to say that because I absolutely positively love this job. I have a fantastic group of kids in Callahan that I wouldn't trade for the world. My daughter goes to Sharon, wants me to drive in her part of the district, and I won't give up my bus route. I do believe there's about 12 or 15 of us in this room. I don't know if anybody else has signed up to speak, but we all kind of feel the same way. We're feeling let down, not only by the school board, but by our parents. A lot of them aren't wanting to stand up and stand behind the drivers when we let the parents or the school system know that we have issues on our buses. There are some buses that are having to turn around and go back to the schools because it is unsafe for us to drive. I've been hearing people say that we make too much money for what we do because we're contracted for 6 hours a day and that's it. I've heard people say, y'all are getting paid through the summer for doing nothing. No, I got a news flash for them. We're not getting paid through the summer for doing nothing. We're getting money that's been pulled out of our paychecks all year to keep us on y'all's payroll so that you're not having to find drivers because we're all having to go out and find another job. Which, I don't know about all of y'all, I don't want to do. I enjoy this job. I got lucky 2 years ago. Marion Nicely asked me to take the trainer's course to become a trainer for y'all. Myself, Nathan Manspile, Whitney Nida, we're your 3 primary trainers. And we get paid $15 an hour to train our new drivers. $15 an hour. In the school system, now not necessarily state. State is, if I remember correctly, it's something like $12.50 an hour is minimum wage. But in the school, that's basically our school minimum wage. Paying us to train the next drivers that are coming up. We spend at least 2 months with each driver trainee coming up. Our trainees are looking at us saying, I'm sorry, I can't do this job. At $25,000 a year, I don't make enough to pay my bills. And 2 months with no pay, we can't do it. I've had people walk out on day 1. I think there's something that this school board needs to try to figure out. Do I know all the answers on how to help you? No, I don't. But I'll tell you what, as a trainer, I'd invite every one of y'all, including Ms. Halterman and Ms. Snee Johnson, to come over to our classroom. That, thank goodness for them and for our lovely transportation supervisor, Christine LeMaster, we actually have a classroom now. We're not training our trainees in a break room. We're not training them where they've got 15 people coming through and they're not able to pay attention to what they're doing. I would love for y'all to come over to our classroom and see the amount of paperwork that we have to do. The stuff that we have to file with the Federal Department of Transportation, that if we make one little mistake, I could not only lose my CDL being able to drive for y'all, but I'm facing federal prison. At $15 an hour, it's kind of starting to make me wonder, do I want to continue doing that? I appreciate y'all taking your time to listen to me. I hope that y'all can figure out something to show your drivers that we're not the redheaded stepchildren of the school system. Because a lot of times that's what we feel like. Unfortunately, some of our schools act like we don't exist until they need us to transport the kids. I pray that people can start realizing how much these bus drivers put into these kids, because I'm going to tell you what, every day I transport 50 or more kids. I've got one that's biologically mine. I got more than 50 that are my kids from the day school starts until the day school ends, and I worry about them all summer. I appreciate y'all for taking the time to listen to me tonight. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right, 25-358, school board member and superintendent comment. Mr. Barrett.
Me lead off, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, since you just sat back down, as far as the bus drivers go, I won't claim to speak for everybody else here, but I will say I've been a part of a lot of discussions as to how best to accommodate and reward and drivers, just acknowledging how difficult the job can be. We've talked about it up here before. A lot of important jobs in our school division. You all literally have the lives of our children in your hands every day. So it doesn't get much more important than that. So for school bus drivers, but you know, just like with us, we always try to give raises. A couple gets in the details when it gets down to the local divisions. But you asked for us to just keep thinking. And to step out on a big limb. Appreciate what you all do and the patience that you have, because I can understand with, you know, children, particularly at the end of the day, can be pretty unruly, and that can be a very tough job. So we appreciate everything you do, for sure. Want to thank Mrs. Sprouse for bringing Megan and Abigail by. It's always nice to see those that have achieved highly, and it's nice to have teachers brag on them a little bit, so congratulations to them. Mrs. Fox and the Virginia Studies students, I was not a math kid growing up, but I was a history and geography guy, so I was pleasantly reminded of all the different parts of the state of Virginia, so thanks to her. Wrap it up on this, Mr. Franson. Last but not least, congratulations to all of our graduates and all of our kids. We're winding down towards the end of the year, so lots of different reasons to celebrate that, but hope everybody has a great last several days of school and the kickoff to a great summer. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eric. Mr. Umstead.
Oh, Lord. All right. I kept track since our last meeting. I've had 106 phone calls about one topic. I'm going to discuss that topic right now. If you don't like it, I really don't care. People are griping at me because of where we built the track. I had nothing to do with that. If you've done the board meetings the past 15 years, I said it belonged at the middle school with 8 lanes, not at the high school. And when they put it at the high school, if you know as much about track as I do, you don't put the high jump pit and the pole vault pit at the same end of the field by the finish line. It's nothing but disaster. So please stop calling me. Please stop calling me about it. I had nothing to do. Talk to the central office people about it. Anybody that came, Allison Fox, who I coached in track, was an all-state discus thrower. Very proud of you. Good job. Very good, proud. And I'm not saying that because I get along well with your mom sometimes.
Thank you.
Bus drivers, I get it. I totally do. Bus drivers tell me how they solve problems. Bus drivers call in sick. 2 bus drivers get together, patch up the route, take care of it. You guys solve your problems better maybe than a lot of people that I work with in the school system. Because you guys are a family. You take care of your problems. Very proud of you. I will do anything in my power I can to help you get it. I've been disappointed when I used to work with Frankie that you all got paid the same. There's no steps different. One guy that retired told me I've worked here for 35 years. I'm making the same thing as that person over there. They just hired him today. I think that's kind of sad. And I'll be honest with you, as a teacher, I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. What I want us to start doing, in my opinion anyway, is to take pride in what we do. To respect the people that do the things that they do. So you may be better at something than somebody else. Help them if they need help. We're not very good at helping each other sometimes. We get on top of somebody and we just keep pushing them into the ground. I guess in the next few months we'll go over the SOL scores. And we'll have another issue to deal with. I'd like to say that I'm glad to be on the school board, but I was glad to be here when Mountain View or CMS had their problems, because problems can be solved if we stop pointing fingers at each other and start solving the problems. Cindy Fox and I worked together for a few years and we were at the middle school, and we had a rule. I could say something bad to her, but before I leave I have to say something positive. Well, I got to the fact I didn't like saying anything bad, I just said positive. Everybody needs a pat on the back. That's why I'm married to my wife for 48 years, because she gives me a pat on the back every day. I think we are blessed to be in Allegheny County to teach the kids that we get to teach and transport back and forth. And we have to respect the things that people do. Not only the bus drivers, the people that cook the meals for them. Everything. I bet you if we did a survey, 4 out of every 10 kids we have, if they didn't eat at school, they wouldn't have a meal at all during the day. I think there's a lot of things we do we can take great pride in. And then we have to support those people that are doing their jobs. Support them as well as we can. And Miss Sprouse and what she does with her chorus, I think I worked with her when she was at the middle school. She's absolutely gifted at convincing kids they can sing when they might not be able to. Maybe we should be gifted and teach kids to do what they can't do. I'm going to brag for 1 minute. I have a granddaughter that goes to CAMS. She got 600 on her math, 575 on her English. She's in 6th grade. She had the top grades in everything except science. And I asked her why. I said, what's wrong with science? She said, Papa, I don't have a good teacher. Okay, we'll drop that topic. We touch kids' lives every day. Every kid needs something positive said about them. So I'm asking you, I'm begging you people, come to me with positive things, what I can do to help you make this a better school system. That's all there is to it. I don't think there's anybody up here that wouldn't do something to help. And the 3 that aren't here, they have other things to do. They'd love to be here, I'd imagine. I thank you for coming out. Enjoy the evening. Pretty soon it'll be dark. I'm done, John. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Mr. Francis.
I too want to welcome you and thank you for coming out. It does my heart good to see how talented the kids we have. I mean, the courses, the artwork, the spotlight. I really enjoy those spotlights every month. and it just seems to be a different way to teach kids, to get them more engaged. And I truly believe the more engaged they are, the more interested you make it, the better off they're going to be, the more they're going to learn. And I want to thank y'all, all the teachers, staff, for the work y'all do. surely not for the money, right? No. But you got to be called to do this. This is something that, you know, God gives you in your heart to want to be a teacher, or to want to be a staff, to want to be a bus driver. There's just so much responsibility. I mean, like Bob says, you have these kids' future in your hands. It's up to us to make it the best we can for our kids, to give them the most opportunities we can. And as far as the bus drivers, you know, that's something we're going to try to work on. Right? I can't promise you nothing because, you know, I went out there to my money tree, shook that thing, got nothing. Okay? But maybe we can find a limb somewhere that's got a few leaves on it that we can help. Okay? Because you are appreciated. I mean, I get texts all the time, you know, bus this is going to be canceled, don't have a bus driver for this, or somebody's called in. But you guys pick up the slack. And like Bob said, you're family. All of us are family. I mean, good heavens. We all should be pitching in to help each other. Because what is our main goal in life for the school system? We don't want a good system. We want a great system. Isn't that right, Ms. Alton? I mean, you know, there's a lot of good systems. We want to be a great system. We want to teach our kids to be ready for life. Because, you know, there is no such thing as participation trophies in life, is it? No. You have to earn what you get, and you have to work hard at it. And we need to train them to do that. We need to get them ready for life. But I want to thank all the staff. I mean, administration, staff, bus drivers, the people who are serving food, the people who clean the buildings, the paraprofessionals, everybody. You guys do a super job. And I want you to know I appreciate it. And I no doubt in my mind the rest of the board appreciates it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Franson. Superintendent Halterman.
It's a pleasure to be here tonight in a good full room and to see so many people who are interested in the work of the board and who are interested in the work of our students. As several of you mentioned, there's a ton of teamwork going on right now, and that certainly extends our teachers, our bus drivers, our administrators, our custodians, our nutrition workers, our maintenance team, everyone, to keep things going, particularly at the end of the year. It's the hardest time to keep things going. It's also the most fun time to keep things going, so it's rewarding, but we really appreciate everybody's teamwork and all the good sentiments that have been shared. It's the time of the year we get to finish strong, so we have everything going on from SOL testing, which Ms. Fox has given us kind of a preview of. We know her students have been doing well on those Virginia Studies tests, and it was great to see her bring that forward this evening. Our students in the arts, our students are finishing in athletics. Academics, of course, again going on. Lots of times we think of that with testing, but we're also thinking about it with just course completion and CTE credentials and all kinds of good finish lines for our kids. We do try to have fun in the process, and especially this time of the year, so it's nice to be part of all those celebrations. In terms of the overall budgeting, we're eager to get what we call the calc tool in the middle of June with some additional information on the governor's newest budget, the latest budget that's out. So want to make sure that everyone knows that we don't have that information quite yet. We're having to operate on the information as we have it now, and there'll be a little bit more refinement to our budget. I'm like Mr. Franson, that's not a promise per se of any particular activity, but it does give us another moment of reflection on our budget. I'm looking forward to that. Happy that we had our workforce signing day today. It's a great event for our kiddos. A lot of kiddos going into the workforce, either full or part-time, sometimes in combination with college or other training that they're doing. Board members, you have at your seat the So You're 18 booklet. And we know all of you are above 18, but this is a booklet that the local bar association provides to our students when they turn 18, and we do a little assembly with that, and they learn about some of their responsibilities as adults. And we really appreciate that people in our community give time for that. I don't want to try to mention all the people because I'm assuredly going to forget somebody and I don't want to do that. But the Bar Association does a really nice job bringing that forward for our kiddos. It was in your list of initiatives that help our kids with character. So Mr. Ross presented those tonight, and that's just one to highlight for you, in addition to Character Counts and Botvin and DARE and all of those good programs. I really hope we haven't forgotten anything. It feels like there's a lot to say this evening, but again, congratulations to our graduates. In about a week or so, they'll be walking across that stage, and that's so exciting. So thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. I want to thank everybody for coming this evening. I know everybody has busy lives, and for you to take your time out to come here, that says a lot, and we do thank you very much. I want to thank or show appreciation to our course awards. Those girls are amazing. To get to see them in action some, and if you haven't, I'd highly recommend it. I want to congratulate all of our art finalists, all their arts over here. Jerry, hopefully in Virginia View, y'all can get some pictures of that for the public to be able to see, because we do have some talented kids there. Ms. Fox, thank you very much for coming tonight and teaching us about the geography of the state of Virginia and some of the stuff there. So that's always the highlight of the meetings for me, is getting to interact with the kids and seeing how y'all teach the kids, and that's always a great thing, and we greatly appreciate it, because that's why we're all here, is for the kids. Mr. Brigham, I want to thank him for coming and speaking. It's always a pleasure to have him. And last but not least, bus drivers, thank y'all very much for coming this evening. I started on the school board in 2019 with the county, and in 2020 I got on the budget committee, and I've been on the budget committee ever since. Talking with Ms. Persinger and Superintendent Halterman, we don't have our final calc tool yet, so we don't know 100% of how much funding we want to have. When I first got on the budget committee, Mr. Franson beat into my head, said, John, whatever you do, make sure it's sustainable, because we can't get somewhere where we're going to go in the red all the time. So that is one reason why it hasn't reflected a raise at this time, because there's no increase in the money that we're getting from the state that we know of. Now, I will tell you, historically, since I've been on the budget committee, what we know at this time is typically less than we get in another 2 months. So I'm crossing my fingers and praying that we're going to get some more so we can help y'all out. But I've always tried to be an advocate for, because I know how hard it is for y'all, just as Mr. Eric said. You know, y'all have a very responsible job, because you're responsible for the child, but also their lives and all the, sorry to sound this way, the crazy people out on the road. You never know what someone's going to do. And I mean, just with distractions today and cell phones, not saying they're crazy, but you know, people get distracted. There's emergencies people have. You never know. I mean, we had a tree fall on a bus. I mean, that's just one of those wild things that happen. And I thank you all very much for everything you do. But I will say, I've always tried to be an advocate for y'all and all of our maintenance people, cafeteria, because it takes everyone. I know as far as buses goes, for the past 3 years, I believe, every budget committee meeting I've asked Christina, are we going to have air conditioning on new buses? Can we get air conditioning on new buses? I know I'd love to have them on all the buses, but I've been pushing for the past 3 years that if we order a new bus, we ought to try to get air conditioning on it. I know it gets cut down some because of funding and what we have, but I'm still pushing for that. So hopefully one of these days we'll make that happen for y'all. Now, one thing that I started pushing hard for was the tablets on the bus. And I don't know if this is really known too much, but I've had a lot of conversation with Christina about it, because my brother, he's an educator in Williamsburg. He's a principal in middle school, and his children go down there, and he was telling me about that. You know, the bus has a tablet on it, shows the bus driver where every kid's stop is. And I know in some of our areas where we don't have the best cell phone service and those things, it's going to be not quite as accurate, but on a lot of our routes it would be great, because it's going to show you right where the kid's going to be. And there's upgrades with that to possibly to where, you know, the kids could have an app on their phone, or the parents could, to see where you are. And also too, I'm pushing very hard too for, is I would really like to see us have name tags for all the kids. So when they come on your bus, we have a swiper there. You can swipe it. When they get off, they swipe it. When they come into the school, we swipe it. And we have accountability for everyone. So that way, you know, for a kid that's not supposed to be on your bus, comes up and swipes, you're like, whoa, something's going on here. We don't figure it out 15 minutes later and we're going down the road. So those little things I think could possibly help make your job easier, because you have more than you need to do now. And even with those things, it's a lot. But just please know, as Gerald said, we're going to keep searching for that limb, and I hope and pray that we can help y'all out with, because I would like to see every person in this whole division get a raise every year. I mean, because it's keeping up with the times, and with insurance premiums. I mean, they go up every year. Everything costs more, and I just want you to know that we do really care. We really want you to, but we want to try to make sure that everything in the system is sustainable as possible.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes, sir.
If I am going to sign the contract, but say you do find some money to give us a raise.
Yes, sir.
Even after we've signed this contract, will that revise the contract to that raise?
I believe Ms. Alterman might correct me, but my talking with Ms. Persinger is we would have to redo contracts at that time. But we feel that we have to try to do contracts now, because we don't, it's just the window that we have to try to fit. Or any of you ladies want to try to help me any there? Or?
That makes sense, sir. I mean, if there, and lots of times there'll be a set of contracts that have to be revised around at this time. We had a set last year that needed to be revised, just because something will change in what we can allow for. But you got that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I'm not making any promises that's going to happen. We're going to try our best to. But I know, talking with Ms. Persinger, there is some divisions out there she's talked to that have promised raises, and now they're going back and saying that they can't. And we definitely do not want to be those people. You know, when I find out that I'm going to have more money on my check, then I'm more likely to go out and make a change to my lifestyle. And I don't want that to happen to anyone. I just want the best for everyone. But I just want to thank everyone for coming here tonight. Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to closed session. 25-359 Code of Virginia, 2.2-3711.A.1 Personnel Matters, Actual Potential Appointments, Assignments, and Recognition, Terminations, and Salaries, 2.2-3711.A.2 Student Matters, Discussion and Consideration of Disciplinary Matters, 2.2-3711.A.7 Legal Matters, Discussion, Briefings by staff members pertaining to actual or probable litigation, 2.2-3711.A.19 Discussion of School Safety Reports, 2.2-254-E Compulsory Attendance Releases, including State Student Case 2588. Talk her up.
We heard you.
That's fine. I just have to say it. Oh, we need a vote to go into closed, Bob. Well, motion by Mr. Aaron, second by